I like to start on time. Out of, I think there's 10 students in this class, one's pretty much live trained, who took the test, and at least 9 of you that are in attendance. Married couple, some came up, they can't be here tonight. And Millie, the lady from Serbia, she got sick today, they had to go home. So she was 3, and baby of the 3 international students, if they show up. Hopefully they do, because tonight's a big night, next week's another test. So
it's next week on 4 or 5?
Yeah. But 5 is gonna be very little. You know what's gonna be on 4, go over that. I don't know what's gonna be on 5. Not much.
Is the homework we did mostly what will be on the test?
Yes. That'd be 70 or 80% of the test. If you can do that problem. Now, how about C-gauge? Have you done C-gauge yet?
I haven't submitted it, I'm 70% done.
All right, did you have a problem on C-gauge that looked like that one?
Yeah, there's a few that were like this, different parts of this.
Okay. So if you had to do all that again, did I give you a bonus problem for the book?
Yes.
Can you do that? So that's at least 3 running through
That is probably long.
it. It is it.
It's super long. Did you do all of it?
I did.
All 3 is your other buddies behind you?
They had a meeting with Dr. Robinson in Tony Hall, so they're going but Melissa is still there.
Yeah.
But the 2 others to the
Yeah,
right.
Millie, I got a text, an email from Millie. But Eva and
They're coming.
oh, yeah. I'll give them a minute before we start. I noticed I got an email from somebody, February the 20th, if you are interested. They're giving free passports to students. Sign up for a passport. You know, if you go to Niagara Falls or anything, you use a passport. I think when I got mine, it was $200 and some. How much did a passport cost you from your country?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
Do you have a passport?
Yes, I do. Else I cannot come here.
I know. You can come across the Mexican border. Yeah, okay. But yeah, you use a new passport. I've been through Canada a couple of times. One time I just need a driver's license, later get a passport. So now probably need a passport to go anywhere. Cruise ships. Last cruise I took, I went to Cozumel, Mexico. I don't know if I need my passport or not. Probably did.
You get off of it. That's why I have a passport on a cruise. If you get off of it, then as long as you stay within the cruise lines area, that you don't have to, but if you go beyond that, you do have to have it.
That'd be boring. I like those excursions they call them. Did you not take any of the excursions?
No, well, we swam with dolphins. That was considered an excursion, but I didn't snorkel or anything like that.
Yeah. I tried to do it all. When I went, but I guess I went on to Jamaica. I was surprised Jamaica was such a poor country. And I went to Lisa, whichever island. The big one that was beachy. One has that big resort. See advertised. Now, I had a student from the Bahamas that worked at that resort.
The Sandals Resort, is that what you're talking about?
Which one?
Sandals? They advertise
No,
Sandals?
not Sandals. It's the one you see for Bahamas, Trying to think about some of these songs. Trying to think about what stars have houses on it. But it's interesting to go to the countries. When did you come to the States?
Friday before the beginning of school.
How do you like it so far?
I mean, I came last semester already.
Right, okay.
It's fine.
Well, it depends on what part you go to. Big country.
I went to Florida, I think, and Washington.
Washington DC.
Yes.
This summer, I bought a motorhome and went with my grandson and girlfriend. We went out west for about 26 days. We started off in St. Louis, Missouri, went up in the yard. Got one of the country's best zoos there. It's all free. A lot of science museums and things. My grandson. But from there, we went to the Rocky Mountains and had a snowball fight in June. So cold on top of those mountains. Saw a lot of elk and so forth. Mule deer and so on. From there, we went to Yellowstone Park. In Yellowstone, buffalo was walking the road on the other side of us, and buffalo came right down the side of our vehicle. We could have actually hit it. Grizzly bear and things like that. And I'm faithful. Afterwards, I call it either a geyser or a gazer. But anyway, a geyser, there's a many of them there. Some of them just form mud, signs, and so forth. And people had really, some man jumped in, not while we were there, just jumped in that water, that hot water that comes out of those. And to get his dog, of course, the dog died and killed him too on his skin. There's chemicals and acid in those things. Just don't step in them or touch them or nothing. Then from there, we went through other states. We went to the Grand Canyon, something. And been to Grand Canyon.
Nationals was in Arizona last semester.
Okay. You know, if you read literature on it, it's 227 miles long, 30 miles wide, and a mile deep most places. And some woman asked her husband, "Honey, you reckon this is man-made?" Dumb and dumb. Nature made that. God made. But anyhow, there was a little town in Arizona called Sedona. You didn't happen to go down to Sedona. And I thought the area around the Grand Canyon, it was dusty, but it's still beautiful. The place you could look over. Stupid man got way out on the edge of one of those rocks. His wife take a picture. I hollered at him and told him that picture would look good on his coffin. But many people die here doing stupid stuff like that. You get out on a rock, you either get dizzy, you fall, or the rocks can shift, you can fall. Many people a year die from that, just being stupid. Getting a picture. Some man has a little 10-year-old daughter out on one of those rocks taking her picture. But Sedona is about 60 miles from the Grand Canyon, closer to Flagstaff. And Sedona, I would have to say, is the most pretty town in this whole country. It's the most pretty town. It's just way down, go way down the mountain, go to it. It's a river runs beside of it. But up around Sedona is just mountains of red rock. It's just surrounded by red rock mountains, so forth. But when you get down into Sedona, of course, it's greenery and a lot of tourist attractions and so on. But it was a beautiful town. But we went through, different states, Texas, and some of Idaho, Iowa, and so forth. Go through Salt Lake City, we didn't stop. But now in Yellowstone, in June, our water froze up. Got cold at night. And it snowed flurry in June. But on the top of Yellowstone Mountain is one of the biggest lakes I've ever seen. A very big lake, you couldn't see across it or to the end of it. So a lot of fishing up there too. So I learned how big this country is. I didn't see much of it at all. A big country, and a lot to see in this country without going anywhere else. But anyway, I'm stalling long enough waiting for those other two. We got to get started with class. But I do think the states I've seen, Hawaii is the most beautiful state. And I went there for a week. And Wyoming, when I went through Wyoming, it was a beautiful, beautiful state. A lot of antelope. See antelope everywhere in Wyoming. Like where I live now, I see a lot of deer. But we went through towns like Buffalo Bill Cody, and so forth, the statues of Buffalo Bill, town center. We didn't go through anything like the Badlands or Death Valley to see any of those towns, anything like that. So we went through those towns. It's a big country. It's a big world. Now your country, what city did you say you lived in?
Paris.
Yeah, you lived in Paris, right in Paris. I do want to go to Paris and Italy and a few places in England, so forth. I've had quite a few students from Spain, a couple last year, and had one to graduate. Had students graduate last year from Germany. I don't know if you ever met Lorenzo or not, did you? Did you meet Lorenzo? He's a great student. Now he can take 24 hours, make A's in all of them. It's like Georgia, he can take it 24 hours, play 2 sports, tutoring and student worker, so forth. So, but it's great that someone can do that. Some of you know how to spread your time. Okay, we're going to review this problem that you were supposed to do, and hopefully you finished it. Okay, let's take a quick look at it, practice a couple of adjusting entries, and move on. This was exercise 24. So exercise 24, the part you had to finish, of course, I hate that I didn't have the right workbook. I hate that you had to copy down the accounts. But, and the first 2 lines, all right, but when you put in the adjustments, I didn't tell you while we were doing it in class, but you saw it. The answer was there in your book, wasn't it? So know how to do adjustments. Know how to finish this worksheet. Okay, now William said on Cengage, if you do chapter 4 Cengage, Cengage chapter 4 really needs to be done actually no later than Friday this week. Chapter 4 Cengage needs to be done by Friday. Chapter 5 Cengage, hope you have it finished by Tuesday. you have Cengage finish, that's where you get some extra points, possible, okay? All right, so I see William finish this out like he should. The authors are gonna finish this.
Yeah, I kind of, I could have done it.
All right, do you understand it?
I asked you.
All right, and it's important. Now, most of you in this night class make good grades, but a couple in this night class needs to count their second test double. And that worksheet itself will probably be 30 points or so. All right, so finish the worksheet. Now, in some books, this is as far as you go. You don't need to go any further with this worksheet because you can do your income statement, revenue and expenses. You can do your equity statement, capital drawing, and you can do your balance sheet. But this book carries it as far as it'll go, making it a 10-column worksheet, which was exercise 25. All right. All you're doing is carrying your revenue expenses over. Now, I know you can remember to do that. You can remember what goes on the income statement. And then the balance sheet, bring over everything else, assets, liabilities, capital, and drawing. Now, this will be your answer on your income statement because that is your net income. We're using it here just to make it balance. And we'll use it here to make the debit credit balance. That's all we're using it for. This means nothing. It just shows that it does balance. The 65 works in both places. If it were a loss, they'd both be in the middle here. If it did happen to be a loss, which yours is not. All right, so I made the test today. And I will give you these first two columns on the test. You don't have to write this in. It'll be written for you, and the first two columns will be filled in for you. Now you make the adjustments and finish it. All right, and when you finish it, make sure you do the income statement. It'll be worth between 5 and 10 points. Easy, you've already done it once on the worksheet. Then do the owner's equity. Beginning capital plus net income minus drawing. Now, the 260 does not go on the balance sheet. It's your ending capital of 317 that goes on your balance sheet. Some students under stress forget that. This is a vertical balance sheet with your assets on top. All right, it's 3 columns. But if you get the right answer, I won't worry too much about the columns. All right, current assets, property, plant, and equipment. Now, look at equipment. How much is equipment? Up here, how much is equipment? $50, right? But you got to take out accumulated depreciation of 7. So the real value of your equipment is 43, book value, net value. So your fixed assets are 233, giving you 354, accounts payable, wages payable, 37, capital 317. So 354 matches 354. The balance sheet is your accounting equation. So how'd yours look, William? Balance sheet do okay? Did it come out all right?
Yes.
All right. Sorry that I didn't give you papers for these. And of course, William made one column deal. Yours come out okay? All right. And yours in 2 columns. And yours turned out okay. Draw your double line to push it off. You don't have yours with you. All right, now you would do the adjusting entries. Now these were given to you on the worksheet, weren't they? All right. And we're going to practice a few adjusting entries. If you miss these, then you missed a problem. So we're going to practice a few, and I'll let you jot them down on plain paper somewhere. So we're going to chapter 4. Now, what is the bonus problem I gave you on chapter 4? Was it 5A? That's just a bonus. You'll have to draw some of your forms. Now, you may be able to go on Google and get some of these forms. Journal paper, balance sheet paper, income statement paper. Or you may go on Cengage if you can find out that companion site for Cengage. It may let you copy some forms. Okay? But I'll give you all the forms you need for the test. And I'll give you time to take the test. Okay, so here are some adjusted entries from the problem. Now, real quickly, closing entries are 2. And if you can do all of that from chapter 4, you see you're doing all these statements again. You're doing adjusting and closing entries again. That's why I count this test up. Okay. All right. Now, to practice some of those, we're going to practice closing and adjusting entries. So, if you would, look at page 218, problem 4A. You have 5 adjusting entries there. See how fast you can write them down. And if you're at home, Millie and my married couple, please practice these with us.
What page are you?
All right, page 218, problem 4-4A. Now, I know if you got it on a computer, oh, you got the book. Okay. You don't have it on your laptop, too. I think they have it, ebook, and I think, do you have an ebook? Okay, let's see if you remember adjusting entries. That's important. Dr. Robinson shouldn't keep students out of class too long. I think Dr. Robinson has to work at 4:30, so maybe she'll want to get home. Come in, Carlos.
Excuse us, we were in there.
Yeah, I know. Arthur was giving the info. You don't have your ebook with you, Millie? I mean, Eva?
I have it online.
We're working on a problem right now, and I'll bring you up to date in a minute. Carlos, you don't have yours on ebook, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, do you? Okay. All right. You need to go to problem 4A. And I want you to write that adjusting entries as quick as possible. What page is 4A on? 218. That help. Carlos. Problem 4A. Chapter 4. 4A. It's hard to find it. It's hard to find it on that end.
Is it after the?
I think so, yeah. Keep going, Dad. Keep going. That's your book.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to go to the problem. Those are exhibits. Now go to your table of contents. Right. Go to table of contents. Now, let's see what you got. Hold on. Let's see. That's excellent. Keep going. Appendix 1, it's appendix 1. Hit on it. Yeah, hit on appendix 1. Let's see. If you hit on appendix 1, let's bring you back on the groups, and I'll give you the problem.
But the exercises.
Yeah, keep going and see if we can. No. All right, go back to your menu. See if we can find another one. Maybe keep going down. Keep going down. Okay, slow down. How about doing problems? Problem series A. Now go down to 4. Okay.
427.
4A. Okay, Carlos, don't worry about them right now. I think we're ready to go over them.
Yes.
4A, that, yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, hang on to it, you and Eva. All right, we're gonna have a test Tuesday, folks. Reason we're having that test, midterm grade test to begin at the end of the week. All right, now most of you have a good midterm grade. We don't have to turn in anything but an F or D. All right, a bunch of my day students have put F's and D's. Tonight, I believe there's only one D in here that I have to turn in. Now, but if we have the test Tuesday and you count that double, all right, you can pull that grade up. Okay, now the problem you did at home, Eva, did you finish the one that I asked you to start last week? All right, it's a must that you finish that problem. Did you finish it, Carlos?
Yeah.
All right, that's a must. Now, that problem on your next week's test is probably 70 points. If you do that problem, that's a C. Okay, everything on that problem, the spreadsheet, the income statement, capital statement, the balance sheet, the adjusted entry, the closing entry. That's 70 points. Now, the accounting cycle will be 10 points. So chapter 4 is 80 points, which is a B on your next week's test. Anybody can remember 10 steps of accounting cycle. If you speak 3 or 4 languages, I know you're going to remember 10 steps of an accounting cycle. Okay.
This is on chapter 4?
Yeah. Okay. But now what we're reviewing now is some adjusted entries. If you don't get the adjusted entries on the spreadsheet, you miss it. Because I'll give you part credit for everything you do. I was reading an article today that some teacher in Florida, the county's policy is you don't give any kid a 0 on a homework or a test. Okay? So this teacher gave some 0s because they didn't hand in their assignments. And she got fired because she gave 0s on assignments that were never handed in. They said their policy was to not give a grade below 50. Why would you give somebody 50 if they don't give you nothing? She got fired for that, I think. It's under protest, I think.
I wouldn't want to work for that school.
No. So, if you're a student for that school, always get a 50. But I don't like to get below 50s either. I like for you to put something down, or I give you a 50 or better. Okay, so study that problem. Now, what else will help you with that problem? The bonus problem. 5A. If you can do it, not only will it be a bonus, but it will help you do this. Okay? And Cengage. Cengage, I think William said, gave you parts. Fill in the worksheet, or do a balance sheet, or do an income statement, or do adjusting entry, or do closing entry. That's on Cengage. So try to have Cengage chapter 4 finished by Tuesday.
You know, so the owner's equity stake.
Yes, all of that. Just like what you're supposed to bring to class tonight. Okay? I also didn't have his, but you finished this, right? Carlos, you finished this?
Yes.
All right. Now, even if you haven't finished this, please do so. Try to understand. Okay. All right. If y'all have to, grab Giorgio. Anyway, he's been hollered at a lot for tutoring. Okay, now we're looking at adjusted entries on page 218 for problem 4A. The first adjusted entry, William, it says supplies on hand, 7,500. What entry did you make?
I debited supplies expense by 22,500 and credited supplies by 22,500.
All right, now William read that correct. And how he read that correct, he knew he had to subtract because it said supplies on hand. If I can ever get to it, their solutions didn't download very pretty. William, what was your numbers?
22,000.
Finally got to it then. Okay. Now it says supplies on hand. And when you look at that spreadsheet, see here, it's just giving me a conglomerate. It's mixing up problems. But when you look at that spreadsheet, supplies on hand is not your expense. You have to subtract. And you get a debit to supplies and a credit to supplies expense and a credit to supplies. All right, Morgan, how about insurance premium expired, 1,800? Okay. Did y'all hear what she said? What did she say? Repeat it again. We'll listen this time.
Debited insurance expense for 1,800 and credited prepaid insurance for 1,800.
Because it said supply expired. When it says expired, that's what you use. So debit insurance expense and credit prepaid insurance. We're going to practice these one more time in a minute. All right. Depreciation of equipment during the year is 80. How about that one, Evan? You, Evan, yeah.
Debit equipment expense for 8,350 and credit accumulated depreciation, 8,350.
All right, now don't debit equipment expense. Debit depreciation expense, equipment, and credit accumulated. Now, some of my junior students in a class above this one, they missed out on a test I gave them last week. And some of them tried to debit equipment, and I marked it wrong. Because it's depreciation expense equipment and credit accumulated depreciation. Okay, D, depreciation of trucks. Same old answer, so no need to call on anybody. So the last one, wages accrued but not paid, 600. What do you think about that one, Carlos? What kind of entry would you make for wages that we haven't paid? Debit what?
Accounts payable, no wages paid.
No, wages paid. And credit what? Since you owe for it, credit what?
Wages payable.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now there are 6 adjusting entries there, right? Now, what we're going to do is the problem that I gave you for a bonus. We're going to look at those adjusting entries. So turn over to page 220, problem 5A. Now, I want everybody to try to have these written down and finished. If you work together, that's fine. As long as both of you write them down. All right, problem 5A, page 320. Okay, instructions 4. Now, this will help you if you're doing this for the bonus. Instruction 4 are the adjusting entries. So see if you can make me those adjusting entries. And it may be hard to do. All right, you do I'm gonna have to show you some of that problem. Before you can make some of these adjusting entries, you need to see, I mean, you had a bunch of accounts, you did a lot of transactions during the month, and this is what you came up with. But when you do an entry on supplies, you gotta know how much supplies you have before you can make the entry. Okay, so now with the unadjusted trial balance up there, entry A, insurance expired, make that entry. You don't even need to see this. But for B, you need to see it. For B and F, B and F's the only reason you need this. You need to see supplies. And you need to see unearned fees, I think. Let's see. Yeah, you need to see unearned fees. John, you need to see how much supplies you had for one of the entries, and you need to see the unearned fees. Now, are you on the adjusting entries? I don't know what you have brought up. All right, finally, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Instruction 4, keep going. Right there, right here. I want you to do these, instruction 4. Okay, I'll go to the right page. golden one. These are 8 series. What page is this on?
220.
Good page. 320.
220.
Way over that chapter.
You said 3.
No, it's 220.
You said 2.
Okay, I may have, yeah. Don't forget. Right, right. Okay. There you go. You already got them, but you did. Let's just say.
Insurance expired for us to accept the policy.
Good. All right. Yeah, you don't have to put it on. Go on with it. Okay, get the license. Put your. Put the word extension. You're not paying that in cash. Let's start off okay. Start off with insurance expense. When you gotta put the credit, you have 375, which is prepaid insurance.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you to bring yours over. It won't cost, so number one, we gotta move on. Okay, Carl, I hope you don't mind your help.
No. Thank you, sir.
That's what you're.
That should be 5,000.
You see supplies up there, it's 4,800.
How's it read?
No, it's 26 July.
Some days was still 3. You had 8.
Pause.
Oh, this is, okay.
But it's subtracted. Now,
So you take that.
if it said,
You have to dig it up.
that's what on fees, still on hand. So it's use the difference.
So that's an expense. You right.
On supplies, what you put on supplies, how much do you say right there? What did it say? On hand, on hand, on hand. That means you gotta subtract it. That's why I showed you this on the board. Subtract it. Right here, you might see that one better. Let's subtract it. Use your supplies and spend. Go ahead and do that. Okay, once you subtract.
So you add that, you gotta pay it out yet.
I don't know, what is your answer? Is it 1,950?
You haven't paid it out yet, so that would be what you just paid. Be credited to your salary payables, the wording for it.
Right, this is accumulated depreciation. Accumulated depreciation. It costs, it goes down to the thing.
So yeah, that's right. And then you add some. No, you don't have to. I don't, that's, I got it wrong. You can kind of credit it. Regret. Because you credited and they'll automatically get subtracted when you go in that big column.
We had chapter 3 on adjusting entries. We had 2 problems on the test last week, or a couple weeks ago on adjusting entries. And that's what we're practicing now.
So you already have some, it's up here. So it's a credit for 8,000. So you take that.
So you got them all? All right. Now, do you all want to do a worksheet like this next week without a calculator? Yeah. If you don't bring one, you'll have to.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not worried about you being able to add and subtract. With calculators, and computers, some of you can't add and subtract manually anymore, okay? But anyway, I'm just saying, you cannot use your cell phone as a calculator by any means. So please bring a calculator. All right, now if we look at this spreadsheet, and this is part of your test. Now, when you look at this, I want you to do an income statement, a balance sheet, and equity statement. I want you to do adjusting and closing entries. William, can you tell me adjusting entry A up here? What do we do for adjusting entry A?
Debit insurance expense.
Gosh, it's not going to let. All right. Now, what William debit here, he just looking at the statement, and he goes down to the debit somewhere. Insurance expense debit, 375, right? And credit what?
Credit prepaid insurance.
Now, that's the first entry you all have on your paper, right? Now, they're also here. All right. Now, let's look at these entries real quick. Now, Carlos, if your buddies back there don't have all these down, please help them. But I think they've got the first one, insurance expense. They've got the second one, finally, supplies expense. But you got to know the difference between used and unused, on hand or not on hand. You know, this 19 and 50 is not on hand. That's why it's an expense. And this 375 is expired. That's why it's an expense. Depreciation is straight up, but be sure you put accumulated depreciation. Then salary expense, there's no trick to it. Rent expense, or maybe expired, unexpired. Now, the unearned fees, you got to read it correct. Is it 5,000 still unearned or 5,000 earned? If the balance is 3,000, then 5,000 must have been earned. So please practice adjusting entries from Cengage, chapter 3, 4, and 5, 3 and 4. All right. Now, there's one other thing you need to look at here. Can you look at that? And I know Morgan already has them written down. Did you work all this problem? Yeah. Closing entries. How many closing entries, William, do you have? 2 from any problem. All right. Here we would debit what in a closing entry? Would debit what? Fees earned for how much? That's 59.7. And we would credit all your expenses, and we would credit capital for the net income. That's one closing entry. Then we would debit the drawing or credit the drawing of 20 and debit capital. That's the 2 closing entries you have on next week's test. So please review them. All right, now, do what?
I don't understand. That's actually one of it. Where are you getting that from?
Well, as you can see, I've got a lot of overlapping here, don't I? Pitiful the way these come out. But in this problem, you're doing all the same thing. Let me find a group maybe that's not printed over. Here is one closing entry. Those are a mess. All right, if we're looking at this problem, and I want you to do closing entries. You close out everything on the income statement. Now, what kind of balance does revenue have? All right, so debited. What kind of balance does expenses have? So credit them. And the difference is going to be net income. Credit capital for the net income. That closes out revenue and expenses. Now, what kind of a balance does drawing have?
Credit.
Debit, don't it?
So we credit.
Credit and debit capital. You've got your closing entry. Okay. All right. One more time on these closing entries, if I can find the correct problem. All right, go to page 221. This is the last practice we're going to have on chapter 4, page 221. Look at problem 4-2B. Now, that is an adjusted what? An adjusted what? 4-2B. Okay, author page 221.
Okay.
221. All right, problem 4-2B. I want you to look at that adjusted trial balance and make me 2 closing entries. See if you can do those now, Morgan. Look at the adjusted trial balance and make me 2. Now here, we looked at the income statement, but the same thing's over here on the adjusted trial balance. Drawing is on the adjusted trial balance. So make me 2 closing entries real quick. Did a calculator because the net income is given, the difference between expenses and revenue is laid out given. We practice this, but it will be. I don't know, do you have 2 of these? They're all model white. You only have one revenue, one revenue. It is. Where'd you get income summary from?
Signage. From the tablet board, signage.
Really? Two gauges what? What's the sign?
It's written here. 1 million. 1 million.
I know, but Seagate,
This is
Seagate should not use income summary. Excuse me, because your book does not.
Is this
You gotta adjust it. Okay, did you do it?
Well, it says on your service.
Did you put total expenses? You put net income, that's capital.
But is that the capital?
Yeah, but net income is what you put in as capital. Now, credit is capital account.
storage expense?
So you start with this one.
Now, period debit is capital account. How much is it on draw? 20,000. What's for 220?
If it's.
Take away from it. Take 20 away from it.
You go ahead and do that before you do
Yeah.
this.
Take 220 away.
I thought that you put like capital.
You do. 20,000. You're right.
It's 200,000.
20,000. Well, let's drop it.
20,000.
20,000. Right. Close it now. Credit is gone. Okay. Cause, no. Wherever you got that from, don't pay attention to it. Now, if you look up a solution on Moodle, the solutions are there. I hope they didn't use income summary. I haven't seen that yet because I got the same solutions up here. All right, but yeah, income summary should not show up. Do you have this edition of the textbook? I hope so. Okay, I've got the same problem here, I think. No, here we go. So that's 3B. Got a problem. These are not showing up. That's 3B. 3B, let me check out. I'll give you 3B or 2B. I gave you the wrong statement up there then. 2B, you did have that corrective with those two numbers. I showed the wrong thing up there. But I was just doing closing entries. And all right. You were on 2B in your book, right? Now 2B in your book has the right, it shows the drawdown. So you didn't need to pay any attention to what it had up there. Okay, now, the R2 fees, service and rent, you debit those. Now Morgan took a fancy shortcut, which I don't like. What she did, she just gave me the total of all the expenses. Total expenses, and then Nicole Gorman kept 113. But now you see, Morgan, you have to list expenses individually to close them out. There's no account called total expenses, but there are accounts for salaries. See, when you post these, it gives them a zero balance because these are temporary accounts. Revenue, expense, and drawing are temporary accounts. You got to give them a zero balance. And if you posted these, it would give them a zero balance, right? All right, and the other closing entry is debit his capital. Draw and reduce his capital. And then you credit drawing of 20,000 to give it a zero balance. Okay, can you get that down by next week? Paulus, can you get those adjusted entries down by next week? But now income summary popped up. I don't know where it popped up for you, but that was last year's book. Last year, the way they did it was income summary. Okay, folks, that is chapter.
This is the closing entries.
The what?
The closing entry.
Yes, that's two. That's it. Yours is way something else. All right. Can we look at one more? We'll take time and look at one more for the break. All right. Can you look at problem? That was 2B, right? All right. Let's look at problem 1B. Page 221, author. All right. All right. Can you go up there, whether it says it or not? Can you go up there, adjusted trial balance now, give me two closing entries. Let's see if all six of you can jot down two entries. Page 221, problem 1B. You have fees earned and you have rent revenue. So you do have two revenues. Okay, how much were your fees earned there, William?
283,703,000.
And then your rent, all right, then you had a bunch of expenses, and what was your net income?
What if I did this right? I got a negative 12,025. So I
Got
debited
a negative 12,025. Yes, we do. Ooh, so that's gonna be a debit to capital then to make it balance. A debit to capital reduces it. A loss does reduce it. I didn't know that was a loss. All right, you got the same thing.
Are you supposed to put it in?
What? Yeah, that's okay. As long as it's a debit, that's fine. And then you close out drawing. Drawing is how much?
20,000.
And you debit what? And credit what? Okay. All right. And Evan, you got it? All right, how about Eva back here? The loss had to come over here. How much was it? 12,800? The loss was how much? 12,000. 12,025 right here. Right here. Because it's a loss. And you debit is kept. You don't put that loss. If you do a statement, you would. Here, these are entries, so you gotta put this kept. Had the right idea, at least you put the minus, but when you debit it, it is a minus, so mark it out. Okay, Carlos, you got it. Right, but you got a debit is kept.
This is the capital. Yes.
Right, it just should have been debit over here. All right, let's take about 10 minutes break. Some of us have been here an hour and 15 minutes or longer. Anyway, take about 10 minutes. Okay, can you get 80 points from that chapter? Can you memorize the 10 steps of the county cycle, fit 10 points, and 70 points on this problem? All right, you can do it. Everybody can make hundreds. Now we're
Get
gonna,
us a sheet that looks like the one that we filled out for last week.
like the one we did last week, or CNH has parts of it, and like the one you did for a bonus, and so on. So you've had different practices, okay? But y'all can do it, okay? So 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So yeah. ¿Dónde el Eva? El Alvis.
just what they have to be. But you know.
You didn't open the back. Chiquillo, IT. Y bueno, So you say,
No, no me la cojas.
hombre, que no.
No, cógete otra.
Dicho, me has pegado la tecla necesita. ¿Pero qué más te da si no te voy a llamar?
¿Qué?
¿Qué más te da si no te voy a llamar?
Tiene que ver. Me puede llamar cualquier persona.
Vale, ¿qué más te da?
Es que vas a tener la misma que yo. Cógete jabal.
You'll decide to take a break? All right. Okay, if your test, that one problem is 70 points, that's a C. 10 steps of accounting cycles, 10 points, that's an 80, that's a B. Now the other 20 points come from this chapter. And if you listen tonight, you'll get those 20 points. In 1 hour, you will understand what little bit I want you to know on the test. All right, this chapter has subsidiary ledgers in it. All right, a subsidiary ledger, I don't know where I went to there, keeps up with the people that owe you money or your suppliers that you owe money. It's called accounts receivable ledger and accounts payable ledger. Okay, now the general ledger is what you add all the time. That's those accounts start with cash. All right, so the general ledger and the subsidiary ledger. All right, and we'll look at how you post to those. And here they are mentioned once again: accounts receivable ledger, accounts payable ledger. All right, your customers and your suppliers' names go in those ledgers. Okay. Now, in this chapter, we have special journals, and that's what I'm going to ask you on the test. I'm going to give you a list of items, and we're going to practice some like them tonight. You're going to tell me what goes in these ledgers. It's a real short problem. It will take you 5 minutes to work it, but this will be your other 20 points. Now, special journals, there's 4 of them. All right, a revenue journal. Now, what goes in, didn't know it would do that. What goes in a revenue journal? Revenue on account. On account. Now, cash sales, cash revenue, cash fees earned would go in the cash receipts journal. Okay? Anytime you receive cash, it goes in this journal. Anytime, no matter from what source. Now, anytime you pay out cash, it goes in a cash payments journal. Now, anytime you purchase something, and on chapter 5, we are talking about a little bit about merchandise inventory. All right, we have to buy inventory or supplies. All right, but this chapter is a lead up to chapter 6. Now, we've had a service business up through chapter 4. Whether it be a real estate agent, whether it be a repairman, you're charging for services. Pest control man came to my house the other day. That's a service. I did not buy a product. Okay, now we're going to start buying products in these next 2 chapters. Okay, so we have a purchase journal. But what kind of purchases goes in that journal? Items on account. Now, if you buy supplies or any other kind of purchase for cash, it goes in this wiggly journal right here. Okay. Now, I guess this is a general ledger. We have cash and we have accounts receivable, supplies, and accounts payable. Now, this account here, this thing's working funny. accounts receivable account is 3,400, but you've got a list of people in a subsidiary ledger that totals up to 3,400. One person don't owe you the 3,400. It may be 5 or 10 or more. You don't owe one person accounts payable, 1,280. You owe more than one business. So it's used for recording fees on account. Now, how many entries do you have here? 4. And how many times did I post to fees earned? All right, how many times did I post to accounts receivable? That makes 8, don't it? All right, but now that check mark means we had to post to the customers. Accessories by Clara, Wrap Zone, Web Cantina, and Accessories by Clara. Well, if we put all those in a revenue journal, we only have to post a total. So, and that's credit fees earned, debit accounts receivable for 9,600. 2 posting took care of 8 posting. But we still have to post to the customers. We got to put 2,200 in accessories and 1,750 in Wrap Zone. That's the subsidiary ledger. A bill and an invoice is the same thing. That's a revenue. You're billing somebody for something that you sold. I'm skipping over some of this, but to show you about the posting, which we don't worry about posting much anyway, computers does that for you. We posted 9,600 into accounts receivable and 9,600 into fees earned, but you post them to the customer. Now their balances, the balance they have here, would have to add up to be the balance in your accounts receivable, 13,000. So what people owe you, 5,200, 1,750, and 6,050 would add up to the, it's called a control account. Okay, now that's the revenue journal. Now let's look at a cash receipts journal. Now, cash receipts journal, anywhere and anytime you receive cash. So we got a cash debit every time. If your customers pay you, it's accounts receivable credit. Now up here though, you had cash revenue. So you debit cash and credit other accounts. Once again, you post a total of a special column. You do not post a total of other accounts. You post individually to account 42. What goes in a cash receipt journal? Anytime cash. Now you see these people owe us 58, 56.50. And that's what's in your general ledger controlling account. All right, purchase journal. You can have any special column you want. In chapter 6, you'll have a column called purchase. That's merchandise. And you've got supplies and you've got accounts payable. So you can buy equipment or anything else and put it in the other. So anytime you have a purchase on account. Now, anytime you have a cash payments, now here you see you post the totals of special columns. Cash payments journal, you post one time to cash total, one time to accounts payable total, but you post to rent expense separate and you post to utility expense separate. And you post to your suppliers that you paid to keep their accounts brought up to date. Now, all companies don't use special journals. And a computer, if you know how to make a debit and credit, it should put it in the right journal if you got a good accounting program. Now, I'm not going to ask you about the steps in posting because we're not going over them very well. I'm going to ask you some counts here in a minute. Okay, real quickly, e-commerce business. Then we'll talk about merchandise inventory in this chapter a little bit. But this is just called accounting systems. All right. E-commerce. William, have you ordered anything from the computer? Such as?
A movie for a birthday gift.
Hello. You ordered anything more? All the time? Christmas gifts and everything else? Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. Lots of stuff.
All right. Carlos, have you ordered anything on the computer?
Yes, so.
All right. You've got ebook, right? You had to order it by using a computer, didn't you? Okay. Or somebody may have ordered your other books by using a computer. Even you've ordered on the computer. And, all right. That's e-commerce. E-commerce. Now, when I used to teach marketing at community college, I had to teach everything, all the management courses at different times, even some math class. And I taught the marketing classes and even a salesmanship class one time. And I taught business law, just had to be a jack of all trades. Finally, we got enough faculty members that I could just teach accounting. And once in a while, of course, economics. So, but anyhow, in marketing, some of the books have, back in the colonial days, you may have had a general store, a country store, a company store. Back in some of the old mining town days, you had a company store that they carried a lot of different stuff. Then later, our country evolved up to these chain stores. You go to one place and you have a lot of stores in a line or a square. Then we went up to the mall that everything's enclosed. Some places you're going back to the shopping chain, the stores in a row. Then we went up to superstores like, excuse me, Walmart and Kmart had superstores. You can buy a lot of different things. At Walmart, you can get your car service, you can get your glasses. Some Walmarts have banks in them, they have beauty shops, and they have so many different departments for automobile, clothing, food, what have you. That's a superstore. And then we went to shopping, QVC or whatever the shopping network may be. So you order from TV, right? And then from there, the last step is e-commerce. You order on your computer. But retailing has went up in other ways. I have a sister in Detroit. She doesn't drive now because she's from a head injury and she forgets and she don't drive. So she can call or use a computer to send in her order to a grocery store and they'll deliver. So groceries can be delivered now. And you've got drive-through windows, not only for banking, but for drugstores, for alcohol, Toys R Us or whatever, when Toys R Us is still around. So shopping, buying merchandise has changed over the years. And computers are probably here to stay. Amazon. Anybody ever order anything from Amazon? Amazon helped put Kmart out of business because there's so much e-commerce ordering. Amazon has even hurt Walmart, but Walmart's so big, grocers and everything else, that won't put them out of business. Anyway, Amazon carries everything. Stuff you need and don't need, stuff that should have been invented, but it's there. All right. So that's what we're leading up to chapter 6. But that's e-commerce. That's all we need to say about it. It's not on the test. Revenue, different segments. Horizontal and vertical analysis we won't prepare, but horizontal analysis compared 1 year to the next. The East went up from year 5 to year 6, 2,000. So you divide 2,000 by 20,000, you get 10%. And then you divide the difference here, you went down 10,000. 10 divided by 60 is 1/6. But that would be horizontal analysis. But if you divide everything by the total, 75,000 divided into 25 is 1/3, and 75 divided into 50 is 2/3. That is a vertical analysis. Don't worry about that now. We may touch on it later. And they're showing you the percents that I just gave you. 1/3 is 33 1/3. 2/3 is 66.7. Now that's the end of the chapter, but that's not what I want you to know. I want you to know what journal things go in. Okay? And we'll be looking at solutions here. And we're going to practice real hard. Probably had that brought up somewhere else. Anyway, now I want to ask you questions from chapter 5. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go straight to a couple of exercises, and this is what's going to be on your test. Look at page 259. Page 259. These are exercises, and we're going to be looking at exercise 3 and exercise 4. Find it, Carlos.
That's okay.
What?
That's okay.
Yeah. Those two.
Which is it?
You found it?
Which one is it?
Exercise 4. Not the problem.
Yeah.
Go back and look at your forgot that I had that thing around. Okay, now wait a minute. No, keep going down. Go down. Down, way down. Okay, slow down. Slow down right here. Yeah. Okay. Now find 3 and 4. Okay, we're going to look at the first one. Anybody answer? Receipt of cash refund from overpayment of taxes. Anybody, what journal do you think could put that in?
Cash receipts journal.
All right. Yeah, let me bring up PowerPoint here. Not PowerPoint, but is anybody familiar with Notepad? Does anybody ever use it? Well, one of my students today told me to hit Control-6. Well, it's supposed to work. It's not working tonight. It's supposed to give me a blank page. Anyway, it didn't. It only worked when he told me to. All right. Now, a revenue journal will represent with an R. Cash receipts journal will represent with CR. Purchase will represent with a P. And cash payment, CP. And general journal will represent either with a J or G. Now, what did I say you put in a revenue journal, William?
Revenue on account.
On account. What did I say you put in a cash receipt journal, Morgan? Cash in for any reason. And Evan, how about the purchase journal? How do you, on what? And cash payments journal would be cash out. Now the general journal takes care of everything else. Closing entries, CE, adjusted entries, because those don't go in one of these others. So what I'm asking you is exercise 3, receipt of cash. And you said that went into the CR. Okay. Now how about adjustment to record accrued salaries? I just mentioned that. Where would adjustments go to record accrued salaries?
The revenue journal.
No. Right here, general journal. All right, ask yourself, was it revenue on account? No. Cash in? No. Purchase on account? No. Cash out? No. Adjusting interest, closing interest, general journal. All right, investment of additional cash by the owner. What journal? Investment of additional cash by the owner. What journal? CR, anytime you receive cash. Receipt of cash on account from a customer. CR. All right. Receipt of cash for rent. Where does that go? CR. All right. Receipt of cash from sale of office equipment. CR. There's other account to credit office equipment. Sale of used office equipment on account at cost to a neighboring business. Now, that is not your regular revenue selling used equipment. That would probably have to go in the general journal. All right. Unless you sold office equipment, I don't think we're in business of selling office equipment. Wait a minute. Receipt of cash from the sale of office equipment, cash receipts, sale of used office equipment on account, probably general journal. Closing of drawing account, which one? General journal. And providing services for cash. Which one? Services for cash. Which one? CR. Now, let's go to exercise 4. Number your paper, letter your paper, A through K. And on your sheet of paper, answer these real fast. A through K. Now, use one of these abbreviations. R, CR, P, CP, or J. Use one of those abbreviations. Now, it don't take you long to letter your paper. This side over here will have their papers lettered, while this side over here is smiling about it. Okay? Author has delayed reaction. He's the last one to pick up his pen. I call this letter your paper A through K.
A through 10.
Yeah, A through F. Those who are smart people, I know that. This side over here already has A through K written down and has most of that. You are just as good, but you pay. Eva tells author jokes as a name. Either that, or he looks at her face and he laughs. So let's prefer the show. Okay. Okay, this side is finished. I'm going to patiently wait for this side to finish. Okay, exercise 4, page 239. Now, this is what you're going to be doing from this chapter only. You're going to be doing this from this chapter. And that's going to be your 20 points from chapter 5. 10 points from chapter 4 is the steps of the accounting cycle. 70 points is that worksheet with the statement and the entries. Okay, so now I'll pass these around. First one, paid them 6 months rent in advance. Okay, Carlos, we paid rent. Which journal? We paid rent. Which journal does A go in? All right. We'll put the A there. Purchase of office equipment on account. Eva? Which one? Anytime you purchase something on account, where is it? All right, P, okay. All right. Purchase of office, purchase of office equipment on account. Purchase of office computer, okay, purchase of office supplies on account. Author? It's also P. Now you don't get these. Like I said, you're going to get these 20 points just from what we're doing tonight. Adjustment to record depreciation. Evan? All right, J. So D and E are both J. They're both adjustments. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Purchase of services on account. Morgan? Which one? All right. P. What letter was that? That was F. Adjustment to prepaid. Where would that go, William?
J.
All right. It'd be a J. Purchase of office equipment for cash. Where's H go? All right. Adjustment to prepaid insurance. I would go here. Purchase of office equipment for cash, again, would be. J would go where? Cash payment. Now, advance payment of a 1 year, fire insurance policy. Advance payment, which one would that be? Cash. All right, now look up here. What do you see missing? We had 3 journals. That's what the problem asked for. It did not ask for these two. That was the first exercise we covered. All right. Now we're going to do one more problem. We may even get out of here before 6:30 if you all do decent on this problem.
What's K?
What?
K.
K, that would be the cash payments journal, CP. All right. I want you to look at page 272, problem 5A. 272, problem 5-5A. Yeah, look under your problems there, Carlos. 272, problem 5A. Yeah. All right, now we're getting a little bit tougher. Here are your regular entries. If you had a workbook, I'd have you do this problem. You'll be putting them in the journal and posting them. We don't have the working papers, but now Cengage will have you doing some of this. Now, William, did you say you had 70 points already on Cengage? All right. And you'll probably get better. Has anybody else started chapter 5 Cengage? Have you started 5? Finish 4, please, by no later than Tuesday. Hopefully you have 5 finished. It'll be reviewing a lot of what we're doing here. Okay, now do you see problem 5A? Now, when you issue a check, that means you're doing what? Like number 1 there, when you issue a check on December 1, where would that go if you issued a check? All right, so number 1 will go CP. Now all you got to do is put these numbers down inside of your paper, and you put an R, CP, P, CP, or J. Now, remember, I'm going to do number 2 for you also. No, it says issued an invoice. Excuse me. When you give somebody an invoice, you are billing them on account. So this is number 2, revenue journal. Now let's see what you're going to do with the rest of these. And you at home, please practice what we're doing.
The first one was also issued in.
I've done number 1 and 2. You start with 3. Just number your paper of 3, 4, 5. If I'd had 1 and 2 over here, 3, 4, 5. Well, number 1, I'd had CP. Number 2, I'd had R. Now, number 3, receive the check from a customer. Now, where are you going to put it? Number 3, you're going to put that in a CR. Now, you take it away. I'm not going to do any more for you. CR. Number 3, CR. Now, go down a piece of paper. Okay. Eva, put number 5 on a piece of paper. Put December 5 on a sheet of paper. You're an author. All right. Let's see.
No, but just to make sure we're in the right page.
Well, thanks. I'll tell you all. Send it to me.
All right.
Yeah, I'm your paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 today. So look, man, put down number 1. I already got the answer for you, CP. Put down the second answer, 2. I already got the answer for you, all. And the third one is seal.
There's no number.
It doesn't matter. No, these are dates. They're not numerical in sequence. You may have 3 number 6s for all I know, okay? They're just dates. Okay, now this is an easy way to get 20 points on your test next week. Some of you after tonight, you wouldn't even have to study for this. Memorize the steps to the counting cycle. But get that 70-point problem, that worksheet statements and entries. Practice adjustments and closing entries if you have to. Okay, number 5, your paper should look something like I've got scribbled down. Purchased a vehicle on account from Platinum Motors. What do you think, William? You can put that in a purchase journal because you got other account. All right, issued invoice for $38.70. How about that one, Morgan? Okay, revenue, because when you issue an invoice, you're issuing a bill for services or something rendered or some kind of merchandise sold.
Skip the 6.
Yeah, 60%.
Well, wait a minute now, that's number,
This is the
did I miss one? Purchase office equipment on account.
CPC.
All right, where's that first 6 go? Well, now number 5, purchase, yeah, both were purchases. Okay, good observation there, Carlos. Now, the next 6 is what Morgan answered, which was revenue. Okay, 9, we issued a check. How about that one, Evan? Cash payments. Okay, Carlos, on the next one, if I could keep up here, number 10,
CR.
receive the check, CR. And the next 10, if I don't get lost with these 10s, issued a check. Eva? Issued a check. Paying out money, cash out. Okay. And then the last 10, author was issued invoice. All right. Got the hang of it now? All right, let's finish these and we'll call it a night. 11, anybody, issued check. And 12, issued check. 11, wait a minute. There's 111, is that a CP? Yeah, there's 2 of them. 211, are both of them CPs? All right, now number 12, we received a check. See what? And 13, issued check, number 615. Chapter really isn't that hard. It's just a lot of work. If you had those journals to work with, knowing where to put them is a good 50% of the chapter. Then I was posting. On the first 16, issued a check. The CP, and let's see, am I in the right place? Issued check, first 16 is that CP. Second 16, cash fees earned. Cash fees earned. CR. Cash fees, whether it's service or merchandise or equipment or whatever we're selling, we got cash. Cash fees earned. Okay. It's the wording, folks. It's the wording. Issued check on the 17th. Okay, on the 18th, purchase maintenance supplies on account. So that'd be the what? Just plain OP. On the 19th, purchase the following on account. Maintenance supplies and office supplies. You see, we could have a special column for each one of those. And on the 20th, use $3,200 worth of maintenance supplies. That's an adjusting entry. Where's it go? J, general journal. G or J, whatever you put. The what?
There's another 20.
Well, there might have been. Oh, that first 20 issued check. Sorry about that. That was CP. Then we had a J, didn't we? Now we're down to the first 24th. Oh, wait a minute, 23rd. Wait a minute. Did I not have 220s in there? That was my problem. I didn't have 220s in there. I'm going to crowd in a 23. So 23 is what? That'd be a P, wouldn't it? Okay, 24. Issued invoice. Which one? Which journal? Revenue. The next 24. Issued check. CP. And 25. Issued invoice R. 26, the first one. Is there 225s?
Yes.
Or we issued the invoice and we issued a check. That'd be a what? Is that right, CP? Did I get those reversed?
So, see,
Well, wait a minute. The first 25, issued check, no, issued invoice, that is revenue. The second 25, we received the check, so that'd be, see what? Okay, that's what you were all trying to tell me. Okay, 26, issued check. And the next 26, issued check. Wait a minute. There's only one 26, right?
and there's 230s. Or wait, no, there's 231s.
All right, number 30, issued check. And 31, cash fees, CR. And the last one, issued check. Now, folks, if you miss this on the test, all right, we're starting accounting 201 over in January, an 8-week session, all online. I wouldn't advise any of you to ever take accounting online. And some people are doing this one that way. I'm online now, but I don't advise you to take accounting online. For one thing, you wouldn't get all this practice. All right, gonna make 100. You all in the parade today?
Yes.
Were you? We were in fact meeting. Good to see you. That was nice. I think our provost, he went out there on the porch and watched you all. Then he came back to the meeting. Okay.